Hello everyone, welcome back to another exercise video from our chapter 10 exercise series from our Managerial Accounting course ACCT 428. In this video we're going to be looking at exercise 10-10A. So let's read the question together. It says Velma and Kyoto V&K is a partnership that owns a small company. It is considering two alternative investment opportunities. The first investment opportunity will have a 5-year useful life, will cost $19,680.96 and will generate expected cash inflows of $4,800 per year. The second investment is expected to have a useful life of 3 years only and will cost $12,885.48 and will generate expected cash inflows of $5,000 per year. Assume that V&K has the funds available to accept only one of the investment opportunities. What's required? A. Calculate the internal rate of return of each investment opportunity. Okay, all right, we can do this by using a similar tactic to what we've done in the previous exercise. All right, so let's just write down the information that we know already, keeping in mind the present value of annuity formula, which is present value of annuity equals the payment multiplied by the present value interest factor of annuity for n years and r interest rate or rate of return. Okay? For the first alternative 1, for both of these, we're going to have to rearrange our formula, right? So because we have the present value of annuity and we have the payment for each of these, but we don't know what's the interest factor, what I'm going to do, I'm going to rearrange this to put this right here. I'm going to divide the present value of annuity divided by the payment, and that should give me the interest factor. And then going to the present value interest factor of annuity table, which is table number 2, and knowing the number of years, I'm going to go to that line and find my rate of return. All right? So just to be on the same page, I'm going to rearrange the formula here. Present value of annuity over the PMT should give me the present value interest factor, okay, for n number of years and r rate of return. Okay, I'm just rearranging the formula right here. So let's do this for the first investment alternative, which the question told us that it will cost $19,680.96 and will generate expected cash inflows of $4,800 per year. Okay, so for the first alternative, that's going to be $19,680.96 divided by $4,800. Okay, using a calculator, 19,680.96 divided by 4,800. That's going to give me a present value interest factor of annuity of 4.1002. Okay, so now I know the factor. I need to also consider the number of years, which was also given in the question. It said here that the first investment opportunity will have a 5-year useful life So for the first alternative, I know that N equals 5. Okay? Now, knowing these two pieces of information, I can now refer back to the present value interest factor of annuity table, table 2, and find what is the rate of return, the internal rate of return. Okay? So here, table 2, we'll zoom in. At 5 years, we are looking for 4.1002, which is approximately this right here. Okay? Now this corresponds to a rate of return of 7%. So it's safe to assume that the internal rate of return for alternative number 1 is equal to 7%. All right? Now I'll do the same for the second alternative, alternative 2. Now for alternative 2, the present value of annuity is $12,885.48, and the payment of the annuity is $5,000 per year. So I'll do the same thing. Let's zoom out a little so we can copy the numbers. 12,885.48 divided by $5,000. Run the numbers. 12,885.48 divided by 5,000, and that would be 2.577096. Okay? Again, we need to consider the number of years, so we know which line in the table we should be looking into. Let me see. Right here. It says the second investment is expected to have a useful life of 3 years. So for alternative 2, the number of years is 3. Okay? Now similarly, we have the factor, the interest factor of annuity, and we have the number of years. So we go to table number 2, and at n equals 3, right here, we go across and we try to find our interest factor, which is 2.577096, which is approximately this right here. Okay? So that corresponds to 8%. So it's safe to say that the internal rate of return for alternative 2 approximately equals 8% with a tiny rounding error. All right? So now we have what we want. We know the internal rate of return for the first investment opportunity, and we know the internal rate of return for the second investment opportunity, okay? Which is what's required in part A. Now let's see what part B wants. It says, based on the internal rates of return, which opportunity should V and K select? Now this is straightforward. Of course, you or the company should take on the investment opportunity that has the higher internal rate of return, right? And based on that, V and K should take the second investment as it offers a higher internal rate of return. Okay, especially that if you remember the question told us that V&K can only take on one of these, so they cannot really take both investments. Okay, so based on that, the second investment, or alternative 2, offers a higher internal rate of return, and because of that, V&K should take the second investment. All right, so that's part B. Now let's see what C wants. C says discuss other factors that V&K should consider in the investment decision. Of course, here we have other factors that plays a role here, including the fact that those two investments have different or have varying durations. Okay? And also that those investments have varying initial costs. So the second investment costs approximately $12,800, whereas the first investment requires more money down in order to enjoy those returns or expected returns. So it requires more than $19,000 down. All right? So all of these play a role. So we could say those other factors, let's say other factors, may include let's say the duration of the investment or the lifespan of the investment, whichever way you want to write it, it's fine. Okay. Also, the costs of the investments, since, as we said, one of the investment opportunities costs more than the other. All right. And also, another factor might be how confident the company is in their projections, right? So we could say the confidence level in the projected cash flows for each investment. All right. Now you could elaborate more if you want in each point, but it's not really necessary as long as you get your point across. And you don't even have to write it exactly like I have, but as long as you understand the main differences between the two investments here, especially that each investment has a different expected life or duration, and also the initial investment or the cost of the initial investment is different between the two, and also other factors might also come to play when it comes to how confident the company is in each projects or each investment's cash outflows and inflows that are expected to be generated by the investment, and so on. Okay, so you might include a few points here to get your point across. All right. I hope that you found this video useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments. This is how you solve an exercise similar to exercise 10-10A. Until I see you in another exercise video. Have a good one.